You're watching the Realme Narzo 50A Disassembly. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell so you'll be notified the next time I upload a video. And if you need any tools, there are links in the description. First, the SIM tray needs to be removed. Next, we need to place our plastic pry tool in between the back housing and the frame of the screen, and then we're going to run it along the edges and pop off the catches. There's some adhesive around the fingerprint reader, so we're going to have to carefully pry the back housing off while holding the fingerprint reader down. Here's a better look at that back housing, and it's made of plastic. The glass camera lens cover can be replaced by applying heat and gently prying it off. On the inside of the back housing, there's some graphene film, as well as an antenna flex cable on top and bottom. There are 20 Phillips screws which need to be removed. Once the screws are removed, we can lift up and remove the plastic cover. Now that we have access to the battery cable, we're going to disconnect that first. Once the battery cable is disconnected, we can proceed to disconnect the rest of the cables. There's a coaxial cable on the top right of the board, which we need to pop off and disconnect. There's a copper tape covering the connector for the front-facing camera, which needs to be peeled off, so we can disconnect the front-facing camera. Now we can lift up and remove the main board. On the main board, there's a 2 megapixel portrait lens, and next to it is a 2 megapixel macro lens, and below that is a 50 megapixel primary lens. And the LED flash for the camera is located right next to the connector. There is copper tape over the shields, as well as some rubber gaskets around the connectors. On the back side, the proximity sensor is located on top, the SIM card and memory card reader is located here, and there's more copper tape and thermal paste on top of the back shields. Once the copper tape is peeled back, we can see more thermal paste underneath on top of the processor, RAM, and these two chips over here. Now it's time to remove the speaker assembly. Here's a better look at that. And there's a mesh filter over the opening of the speaker. Now we can disconnect the flex cable which connects the main board to the subboard. And then we need to pop off the other end of the coaxial cable. At this point, the subboard can be lifted up and removed. There's a rubber gasket around the charger port and headphone jack, as well as around this connector. There's a liquid damage indicator, which is this white sticker, and the primary microphone is located in the center. And here's a look at the other side. In order to remove the battery, there is a provided pull tab to help us pry the battery off. Here's a better look at the battery. Once the battery is removed, we can see the flex cable for the screen, which is routed through an opening over here in the midframe, and we can see the flex cable which connects the main board to the subboard. So if you needed to replace your screen, you'd have to remove the SIM tray and the back housing, and then you'd remove the screws on the top plastic cover and remove the plastic cover itself. You'd disconnect the battery cable and the screen cable, and then you'd remove the battery, giving you access to the screen cable over here, and then you'd peel off the adhesive plastic tape for the battery, heat up the front of the phone where the screen is to loosen up the adhesive underneath, pry your old screen off, apply new adhesive, reapply your new screen, making sure you run the cable through the opening in the midframe, and then reassemble your phone. Moving on, there's a vibrator motor on the bottom right corner. The flex cable for the volume keys and power buttons located on the side, and it's held down with adhesive, so if you want to remove that, you can gently pry it off. And the earpiece speaker is located on top, and that's also held down with some adhesive. There's also another liquid damage indicator underneath the SIM tray. As far as repairability goes, I give this phone a 9 out of 10. The back housing is removable without any use of heat. There's no adhesive holding it down, which makes putting it back together much easier. And there is a pull tab to help you pry the battery off, making a battery replacement easy as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the phone back together. Once all the screws are back in place, reapply your back housing. And flip over the phone, power it on, and you're done. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.